Tonight, late-breaking news. CBS News estimates Hillary Clinton has won the Pennsylvania primary, but the critical question is, by how much? I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, gas prices. How high can they go? As prices rise by the day, we're driving less, and businesses like this RV plant are stalling. Children in the crosshairs, not on the streets of Baghdad, but in one of America's great cities. And you'll be green with envy when you hear what some companies are doing to help their employees save energy.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And this is a special Western edition. Good evening, everyone. Hillary Clinton desperately needed a big win in the Pennsylvania primary, and CBS News is projecting that she has defeated Barack Obama, but we don't know yet by how much. We can tell you, however, that among voters who made up their minds in the past 3 days, they went 60-40 for Clinton. And what were voters looking for in a candidate? Our exit polling found change beat experience 2-1. Jim Axelrod is covering the Clinton campaign. He's in Philadelphia tonight. And Jim, Clinton gets the win. The question is, will it be big enough to keep her candidacy alive?
Exactly. Senior aides with Hillary Clinton were saying that they wanted to see at least a 5-point margin of victory. That would allow them to press their strategy that Barack Obama outspent them 3-1 on TV, and still he couldn't put her away. It's a strategy we first heard Hillary Clinton talk about earlier today. Let's listen.
And I think maybe the question ought to be, why can't he close the deal? With his extraordinary financial advantage, why can't he win a state like this one?
The Clinton campaign will now push to North Carolina and Indiana, depending on what they see tonight. They'll divide up the travel schedule. But the big thing to look at this point is how much money Hillary Clinton will be able to raise coming out of this victory tonight. Again, the reason they want a big victory is so that they can use it to start raising money. She is running very low on money, Katie.
And Jim, I noticed that the HillaryClinton.com banners seem to be more prominent tonight than ever. Are they hoping that this will send her supporters to her website and they will put out the money that she so desperately needs?
Absolutely. I mean, they had about $10 million in debt last month. Even more than that now. They very desperately need to raise some money, Katie.
All right, Jim Axelrod in Philadelphia with the Clinton campaign tonight. Barack Obama, meanwhile, has one eye on Pennsylvania and the other on the next big primary. That's in Indiana. Our Dean Reynolds is in Evansville. And Dean, Obama may have lost tonight, it appears, but if it's close, I guess his folks will be breathing a sigh of relief, right?
Well, you know, it's interesting listening to Jim describe the Hillary Clinton expectations. They're very similar to Obama's. Obama was hoping to keep the margin of victory of Hillary Clinton to 5 points or less. That way they could claim that it was basically a wash. To be on the safe side, though, they plan to roll out some superdelegate endorsements, maybe as early as tomorrow, from North Carolina and Indiana, those next two states coming up, as a way to sort of steal headlines from Hillary Clinton's victory. Now, keep in mind, Obama still has a huge financial advantage, and while it may not have helped him in Pennsylvania, it certainly won't hurt in Indiana and North Carolina. Indeed, Obama says that he sees a very long road ahead.
You know, I have come to conclude that this race will, continue until the last primary or caucus vote is cast.
Tempering their emotions tonight, though, is the very real fact, if these results hold up, that he has failed once again to win the big one. Katie?
All right, Dean Reynolds. Dean, thanks so much. Again, it's not just who won or lost tonight, but by how much, the so-called margin of victory. Jeff Greenfield explains the numbers game.
It happens every day in Vegas. If you bet on the Lakers and they're favored by 5 points, if they win by only 4, you lose. It's all about beating the spread. And it's no different in today's political contest. In the run-up to today's Pennsylvania primary, it's the political bookmaking talk that is dominating the conversation.
If it's double digits, that seems to be the shorthand for a Clinton victory.
She'll be at 6 or 7%.
If she wins by 10 or 11,
she probably needs a double-digit win.
Well, now we're talking about 10 points.
I think she has to win by more than 1 point.
So, what is tonight's spread?
The perception's reality, and if the perception, if she wins by double digits, it's a huge win, and then if she wins by 3, it's a huge loss. So it's a win, but a win isn't a win. I mean, it's kind of silly season, but it does matter.
That's why in Pennsylvania, the campaigns have been battling to prove just how terrible their prospects are. Obama's people say, look at all the old folks, the blue-collar voters, perfect Clinton country. The Clinton people say, look at all those Obama ads, all that Obama money. We'll be lucky to win by 1 vote.
So, Katie, how will we know if Clinton's win was a win? Wait a couple of days. If calls for her to leave the race grow, she will have lost. If they lessen, she will really have won.
And maybe by how much money she's able to raise on the heels of this victory.
She is in really desperate shape. Obama has 5 times the cash on hand. She is riddled with debt. If this win doesn't propel her into anything approaching a competitive financial situation, she's in real trouble for the ensuing primaries.
Okay, Jeff, stand by for a moment, because also joining us for some analysis of this critical primary is Bob Schieffer, our chief Washington correspondent and anchor of Face the Nation. And Bob, you know, there was a lot of talk among Democrats that the longer this goes on, the more divided they'll become. And it seems that it seems to be happening according to our exit polls, right?
Well, I think that is one thing that we can say is happening, and that is this long, nasty fight is beginning to take a toll on the Democratic Party, and the way it's breaking out has a couple of surprises in it. Go back to February, Katie. On Super Tuesday, nearly half of Senator Clinton's supporters said then that they would be happy if Senator Obama got the nomination, and just over half of Senator Obama's supporters said they'd be happy with Senator Clinton as the nominee. Well, now look what happened in Pennsylvania today. Democrats told us that only about a third of Clinton's supporters now say they would be satisfied with Obama hitting the ticket, and among Obama voters, only 44% say they would be satisfied with Clinton hitting the ticket. It's the Clinton voters who now seem the most upset, though. More than a quarter of them, 26%, are saying in Pennsylvania that they'll vote for Republican John McCain before they vote for Obama. And that is a little bit surprising. We heard all along, you know, that if Senator Clinton got the nomination, she'd have a hard time pulling the party together because she would have turned off so many African Americans. But what we're seeing tonight is that Obama may also have a hard time uniting the party and getting those Clinton Democrats back in the fold. We're seeing the divides come alive here in this, Katie. Old people tended to go for Mrs. Clinton tonight. Younger voters went for Obama. Rich versus poor, men versus women, more educated, less educated. There's real divides here in the Democratic Party.
Meanwhile, Jeff Greenfield, you know, the rap on Obama is he hasn't been able to connect with blue-collar voters, and then he made that gaffe, what some considered a gaffe, at that San Francisco fundraiser, and it seems like that might have affected voters in Pennsylvania.
Well, he did say that people clung to their guns and their faith out of economic frustration. And if you take a look at some numbers, 37% of the Pennsylvania Democrats were gun owners. They went overwhelmingly for Clinton, 58 to 42. About 39% of these voters were regular churchgoers, weekly churchgoers. They went for Clinton, 59-41. So those remarks certainly didn't help.
Also, let's talk about these late deciders. I mean, does Hillary Clinton have a point that he seems to have trouble sealing the deal?
You know, you look at New Hampshire, you look at California, New Jersey, Massachusetts, you look at Ohio and now Pennsylvania, late deciders have broken for Clinton. And the question then is why? Why is there buyer's remorse? And it may be an argument that will persuade some superdelegates to take a second look when they have to decide, Katie.
All right. Jeff Greenfield, Bob Schieffer, gentlemen, as always, thanks so much. Meanwhile, what is next? Well, here's a quick look at the upcoming primary calendar. The next big state contests are 2 weeks away in North Carolina and Indiana. West Virginia votes a week later. Then Oregon and Kentucky. Puerto Rico votes June 1st. Montana and South Dakota, meanwhile, wrap it all up 6 weeks from today, unless, of course, this race goes all the way to the convention. Now to the CBS News Money Watch. Oil came oh so close today to $120 a barrel before closing at a record $119.37. And how fast are gas prices rising? Well, they have nearly doubled in just over 3 years. Before that, it had taken 16 years for prices to double. And as Anthony Mason reports, it's having a serious ripple effect throughout the economy.
The motor home maker Winnebago is putting the brakes on production, shutting down most of its Iowa lines for a week because of sliding sales.
There's a few people I know that work on the lines, and they're, pinching their pennies a little bit.
The RV industry says higher gas prices have helped damage the consumer psyche.
Well, there's no question it's been impacted negatively.
From their peak in 2006, RV sales are expected to fall more than 20% in just 2 years.
In part because America's thirst for gasoline is waning. We're cutting back, and demand for oil is actually expected to drop 2% this year.
But overseas, it's growing. For the first time ever, China, India, Russia, and the Middle East together will consume more crude than the U.S. in 2008. But the real reason oil has soared more than 100% in little over a year, say some analysts, is market speculation.
People are buying oil because they're uncertain about the economy, they're uncertain about the value of what a dollar may be worth tomorrow, and they want to make sure that they own something solid that they can put their hands on.
It's a bubble, says Phil Flynn, and when it finally bursts, gas prices should be as much as 80 cents a gallon cheaper.
For every boom that you've ever seen in the history of oil, I'll show you a bust. And we know a bust is coming.
For those with fill-up fatigue, it can't come soon enough. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
And there's much more CBS News ahead. Up next, shock in Chicago. A city grapples with a frightening surge in gun violence that's killing its kids. In Chicago today, readers did a double take when they passed the newsstand. This was the front page of the Sun-Times. It's not a mistake. It was the paper's way of urging readers not to turn their backs on a frightening problem. Since Friday, there have been 40 shootings resulting in 9 deaths. And as Cynthia Bowers reports, for months, the staggering toll has been greatest among the youngest.
With what amounts to a classroom of kids killed since September, public school students in Chicago aren't as worried about making the grade as they are about making it home alive.
You can't go nowhere these days without getting shot. It's just crazy.
So far this school year, 24 students have been murdered, most of them shot. Among the dead, 10-year-old Arthur Jones, on his way to buy candy when he got caught in gang crossfire, as did 15-year-old Miguel Pedro, who went out for ice cream and never came back. Last year, 34 students died. That's 58 students over what amounts to a 17-month period. On average, that's one child being murdered every 8 days.
Help us pass common sense gun laws, please.
Even so, Stop the Violence rallies have had little impact. And in a city where handguns are already banned, the mayor's calls for stricter gun laws have fallen on deaf ears.
Why is America turning its back on its children when it comes to gun violence? It's simple as that.
Ron and Annette Holt blame the apathy on the majority of people, assuming this will never happen to their kids, since most of the victims are poor and black.
You always hear reporters say gang-related. I'm so sick of hearing that word, gang-related. Say the perpetrator was a gang member, not the person who got shot. The person who got shot was a good child.
Like her son, Blair, the only child of a police officer and fire captain, planning to go to college to study business and music. But his future was cut short last May when a teenage gunman looking for a rival gang member opened fire on a crowded city bus.
You are never the same.
A part of you died.
Oh my God, a big part. It's like you died with your child.
These days, the only thing that keeps them going is their mission to let Americans know every child deserves to be safe.
This affects every culture, everywhere, black, white, it doesn't matter where it happens. Gun violence is gun violence.
Many say it's not just about guns. It's more about poverty, lack of education, absentee parents who've lost control of their children.
Your duties are to take care of your child, know what your child is doing, and make sure they're headed in the right direction.
Until then, these kids remain potential targets, believing no amount of police protection can truly keep them safe. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Chicago.
An update now on our exclusive report about allegations that the VA tried to cover up an epidemic of suicide among military veterans. Today, Senator Daniel Akaka, chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, called for the resignation of Dr. Ira Katz, the head of mental health for the VA. Senator Patty Murray of Washington also called for his ouster, saying, quote, "The #1 priority of the VA should be caring for our veterans, not covering up the truth." Katz has denied there was any cover-up. When we come back, Texas begins to move hundreds of children taken from that polygamy compound. Where they're going in a moment. In Texas, more DNA samples were taken today at that polygamy compound to help sort out the families in that huge custody battle. Meanwhile, dozens of the children found themselves suddenly on the move this afternoon. Randall Pinkston has the latest.
Texas state troopers unlocked the gates at the county fairgrounds, and 8 buses with 114 children on board rolled out, bound for foster care facilities throughout the state. Boys on the first bus, then girls. Some waved, even smiled. They were the first of 437 children to leave the shelter after being taken into state custody following allegations of child sex abuse among members of the fundamentalist Church of Latter-day Saints. This video of the raid, released last night by the church, shows tearful departures and heavily armed officers directing the women and children. Today, adult residents of the compound took court-ordered DNA tests to match children to their parents.
Have you ever read about a concentration camp? Getting it pretty close.
This is Marie, Parley, Jacob, and Terrell.
David Williams does not live on the compound. His ex-wife Marie does. So did their 3 sons before they were taken into custody. Tonight, he has no idea where his children are.
How is it that this state of Texas has forcibly removed these, my dear children, from their mother? What unhonorable bastards to do so.
The Texas judge handling the complicated case told the state to make every effort to keep brothers and sisters together. Meanwhile, more than 300 other children remain in the shelter, but they are expected to be moved to foster care by Thursday. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, San Angelo, Texas.
And some troubling health news tonight. Life expectancy for women in some parts of the country is down sharply. It's fallen by a little over 1 year in the Deep South and Appalachia. Researchers blame high blood pressure and diseases linked to both smoking and obesity. Still ahead, giving green to go green. Some companies are paying workers to drive more fuel-efficient cars. Finally tonight, as we celebrate Earth Day, changes in the air. Some companies are now giving their workers a financial incentive to go green. John Blackstone begins our special series, Energy Savers.
When it comes to a carbon footprint, some of the biggest feet on the planet belong to American business and industry. But American business is now doing some surprising things to make a difference.
So what is the mileage on this?
48 miles in the city and 45 in the highway. But
Peter Magnani is test driving a gas-electric hybrid because the bank he works for will help him buy it.
The Bank of America will give me a $3,000 cash rebate if I buy a hybrid car.
This is your hybrid Synergy Drive.
In the past 2 years, the Bank of America has given 1,800 employees more than $5 million to buy fuel-efficient hybrids. That saved an estimated 1,800 tons of carbon emissions.
I feel good about working at a company that has that consciousness and that provides those benefits.
For business, going green is a way to attract and retain employees.
These days, people want to work for a company that they respect, that they think is doing the right thing, that they think is part of the solution.
So Brian Cole is happy getting 40 miles a gallon in a car that burns biodiesel. What do you burn?
Waste vegetable oil that's coming out of restaurants.
His employer, energy bar maker Cliff Bar, helped him buy it.
I received a $5,000 forgivable loan.
$5,000?
Yeah.
totally forgiven if he stays with the company for 5 years. That perk has put plenty of fuel-efficient vehicles in the company parking lot. But carpoolers and bike commuters get bonuses too.
It's just another great way that they're really getting everybody psyched about thinking outside the box on how they want to commute.
And how they can save energy at home. Shauna Sadowski is getting $1,000 to buy insulating window blinds.
They prevent up to 75% of heat loss, as well as prevent heat from coming in. So in the summertime it'll cool, in the wintertime it will prevent the heat loss.
But usually we think of businesses there to make money.
Yes.
This costs money.
It does cost money, but we're a successful business. We're still making money, so it's working.
It's not just business. The American Jewish Committee gives employees cash to buy fuel-efficient cars. And the County of Los Angeles is telling its 100,000 workers it's negotiated discounts for them on hybrids. A lot of small steps.
It's a very smooth ride.
To shrink that big carbon footprint. John Blackstone, CBS News, Concord, California.
And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. Stay with CBS News and this CBS station throughout the evening for the very latest on the Pennsylvania primary. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. Happy Earth Day. Good night.